go. So, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Ananda Vihari, so much for the honor. I am full aware that I am not at all qualified to ever give a Bhagavatam class ever, but especially not today as we're beginning the 10th canto. We've, as Bhima Prabhu, where is he? There he is, as he told us in one of his beautiful classes a couple of weeks ago, we were writing a river of names. And so we've come to the destination of the river of names, to that smiling face of Krishna. So as Adi tells us, please make a prayer for me, because I am so unqualified. Please pray that I will only say what Shastra and Guru says, and that this offering may be pleasing to Krishna and not selfishly motivated, and not any of my foolish thoughts. Please pray for me. So let's go to Vrindavan. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopi Janabalava Girivara Dari, Gopi Janabalava Girivara Dari, Gopi Janabalava Girivara Dari, Yashoda Nandana Praja Jana Ranjana, Yashoda Nandana Praja Jana Ranjana, Yashoda Nandana Praja Jana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Mamuna Tira Vanachari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, first verse, chapter 1. Here we go. We have arrived, dear friends. And while the text that I'll be speaking on is 10.1.1, I would be completely remiss in not reading the beautiful summary. Oftentimes, Ananda Bihari tells us after a Chuta Gopi has spoken, I've heard him say many times, okay, devotees, put down your popcorn. Because when a Chuta Gopi speaks, it's like we're all like watching the movie, isn't it? And so I feel like this beautiful summary is the trailer to where we're going. So devotees, pick up your popcorn as we read first this beautiful summary, and then I'll get to the verse. The Advent of Lord Krishna, introduction. The summary of the first chapter is as follows. This chapter describes how Kamsa, frightened by hearing an omen about his being killed by the 8th son of Devaki, killed Devaki's sons one after another. When Sukadeva Goswami finished describing the dynasty of Yadu, as well as the dynasties of the moon god and the sun god, Raj Pritchett requested him to describe Lord Krishna, who appeared with Baladev in the Yadu dynasty, and how Krishna performed his activities within this world. Krishna is transcendental, the king said, and therefore, to understand his activities is the occupation of liberated persons. Hearing of Krishna Leela is the boat by which to achieve the ultimate goal of life. Except for an animal killer or one who's following a policy of suicide, every intelligent person must strive to understand Krishna and his activities. Krishna was the only worshipable deity for the Pandavas. When Maharaj Parikshit was in the womb of his mother Uttara, Krishna saved him from the attack of the Brahmastra. Now Maharaj Parikshit asked Sukadeva Goswami how his lordship Baladev, the son of Rohini, could have appeared in the womb of Devaki. Why did Krishna transfer himself from Mathura to Vrindavan? King Parikshit asked. And how did he live there with his family members? What did Krishna do in Mathura and Vrindavan? And why did he kill his maternal uncle Kamsa? Inquiring minds want to know, right? For how many years did Krishna reside in Dwarka? And how many queens did he have? Maharaj Parikshit asked Sukadeva Goswami all these questions. He also requested Sukadeva Goswami describe other activities of Krishna about which he could not inquire. When Sukadeva Goswami began to speak about Krishna consciousness, Maharaj Parikshit forgot the fatigue brought about by his fasting. Enthusiastic to describe Krishna, Sukadeva Goswami said, like the waters of the Ganges, descriptions of the activities of Krishna can purify the entire universe. The speaker, the inquirer, and the audience all become purified. Jai. Once when the entire world was overburdened by the increasing military power of demons in the form of kings, Mother Earth assumed the shape of a cow and approached Lord Brahma for relief. Sympathetic to Mother Earth's lamentation, Brahma, accompanied by Lord Shiva and other demigods, took the cow-shaped Mother Earth to the shore of the Milk Ocean, where he offered prayers to please Lord Vishnu, who lay there on an island in transcendental ecstasy. Brahma therefore understood the advice of Mahavishnu, who informed him that he would appear on the surface of the earth to mitigate the burden created by the demons. The demigods, along with their wives, should appear there as associates of Lord Krishna in the family of Yadu to increase the sons and grandsons in that dynasty. By the will of Lord Krishna, Anantadev would appear first as Balaram, and Krishna's potency, Yogamaya, would also appear. Brahma informed Mother Earth about all this, and then he returned to his abode. After marrying Devaki, Vasudeva was returning home with her on a chariot driven by Kamsa, her brother, when an ominous voice addressed Kamsa, warning him that Devaki's 8th son would kill him. Upon hearing this omen, Kamsa was immediately ready to kill Devaki, but Vasudeva diplomatically began to instruct him. Vasudeva stressed that it would not be good for Kamsa to kill his younger sister, especially at the time of marriage. Anyone who possesses a material body must die, Vasudeva advised him. Every living entity lives in a body for some time and then transmigrates to another body. But one is unfortunately misled into accepting the body as the soul. If a person under this mistaken conception wants to kill another body, he is considered hellish. Because Kamsa was not satisfied by Vasudeva's instructions, Vasudeva devised a plan. He offered to bring Kamsa all of Devaki's children so that Kamsa could kill them. Why then should Kamsa kill Devaki now? Kamsa was satisfied by this proposal. In due course of time, when Devaki gave birth to a child, Vasudeva brought the newborn baby to Kamsa, who, upon seeing Vasudeva's magnanimity, was struck with wonder. When Vasudeva gave Kamsa the child, Kamsa, showing some intelligence, said that since he was to be killed by the 8th child, why should he kill the 1st? Although Vasudeva did not trust him, Kamsa requested Vasudeva to take the child back. Later, however, after Narada approached Kamsa and disclosed to him that the demigods were appearing in the Yadu and the Vrishni dynasties and conspiring to kill him, Kamsa decided to kill all the children born in these families. And he also decided that any child born from the womb of Devaki must be killed. Thus he arrested and imprisoned both Devaki and Vasudeva and killed 6 of their sons, one after another. Narada had also informed Kamsa that in his previous birth, Kamsa was Kalanemi, a demon killed by Vishnu. Consequently, Vamsa became a great enemy to all the descendants of the Yadu Vamsa, the Yadu dynasty. He even imprisoned his own father, Ugrasena, for Kamsa wanted to enjoy the kingdom alone. Krishna has threefold pastimes: the Vraj Leela, the Mathura Leela, and the Dwarka Leela. As already mentioned in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 90 chapters, yay, lots of history, which describe all these Leelas. The first 4 chapters describe Rama's prayers for the relief of the earth's burden. And they also describe the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Chapters 5 through 39 recount Krishna's pastime in Vrindavan. The 40th chapter describes how Krishna enjoyed in the waters of the Yamuna and how Akrura offered prayers. Chapters 41 through 51, 11 chapters, tell of Krishna's pastimes in Mathura, and chapters 50 through 90, 39 chapters relate Krishna's pastimes in Dwarka. Chapters 29 through 33 describe Krishna's dancing with the gopis, known as the Rasa Leela. Therefore, these 5 chapters are known as the Rasa Ahunshadaya. The 47th chapter of the 10th canto is a description known as Brahma Gita. And now we'll come to verse 1. Shirajo Vacha Kahito Vamsa Visaro Bhavataso Masuryayo Rajnam Kohaya Vamsanam Kalitam Paramadhutam. Translation and purport by His Most Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Prabhupada Jai. King Parikshit said, "My dear Lord, you have elaborately described the dynasties of both the moon god and the sun god with exalted and wonderful character of their kings." Purport. At the end of the 9th canto, 24th chapter, Sukadeva Goswami summarized the activities of Krishna. He spoke of how Krishna had personally appeared to reduce the burden on the earth, how he had manifested his pastimes as a householder, and how soon after his birth, he had transferred himself to his Rajabhumi Leela. Parikshit Maharaj, being naturally a devotee of Krishna, wanted to hear more about Lord Krishna. Therefore, to encourage Sukadeva Goswami to continue speaking about Krishna and give further details, he thanked Sukadeva Goswami for having described the activities of Krishna in brief. Sukadeva Goswami had said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, known as Lila Purushottama, appeared as the son of Vasudeva, but immediately left his father's home and went to Vrindavan to expand his loving relationships with his confidential devotees. In Vrindavan, the Lord killed many demons, and afterwards he returned to Dwarka, where according to Vedic principles, he married many wives who were the best of women, begot through them hundreds of sons, and performed sacrifices for his own worship to establish the principles of household life. The Yadu dynasty belonged to the family descending from Soma, the moon god. Although the planetary systems are so arranged that the sun comes first before the moon, Parikshit Maharaj gave more respect to the dynasty of the moon god, the Soma Vamsa, because in the Yadu dynasty, descending from the moon, Krishna had appeared. There are 2 different Kshatriya stories of the families, different Kshatriya families of the royal order. One descending from the king of the moon planet, and the other descending from the king of the sun. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears, he generally appears in the Kshatriya family because he comes to establish religious principles and the life of righteousness. According to the Vedic system, the Kshatriya family is the protector of the human race. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared as Lord Ramachandra, he appeared in the Surya Vamsa, the family descending from the sun god. And when he appeared as Lord Krishna, he did so in the Yadu dynasty, or Yadu Vamsa, whose descent was from the moon god. In the 9th canto, 24th chapter, Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a long list of kings of the Yadu Vamsa. All the kings in both the Soma Vamsa and the Surya Vamsa were great and powerful, and Maharaj Parikshit praised them very highly. Nonetheless, he wanted to hear more about the Soma Vamsa because that was the dynasty in which Krishna had appeared. the supreme abode of the personality of Godhead, Krishna, is described in Brahma Samhita as the abode of Chintamani. Chintamani pakarasa musakopta viksha laksha vriteshu shirabi abhipayatam. The Vrindavan Dham on this earth is a replica of that same abode. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 8:20, in the spiritual sky, there is another eternal nature, transcendental to manifest and unmanifest matter. The manifested world can be seen in the form of many stars and planets, such as sun and moon. But beyond this is the unmanifested, which is imperceptible to those who are embodied. And beyond this unmanifested matter is the spiritual kingdom, which is described in Bhagavad Gita as supreme and eternal. That kingdom is never annihilated. Although material nature is subject to repeated creation and annihilation, that spiritual nature remains as it is eternally. In the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, that spiritual nature, the spiritual world, is described as Vrindavan, Goloka Vrindavan, or Vrajdam. The elaborate description of the above-mentioned shloka from the 9th canto, Jato Gata Pritgrahad, Bhagavatam 9:24-66, will be found here in the 10th canto. Mulvagan Chimaranda Chaptananjan Shalakaya, Taksharami Tanmena Tashmai Shri Gurude Namaha, Shri Krishna Shri Tanya, Prabhu Nityananda Shri Vijagrad Shri Vasadibo Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Again, I ask for your prayers. You're all senior to me in your devotion, so please pray for me as I am asked to give a little something on this, what can we say, this amazing topic. I'd like to begin by reading one of the lines from the purport one more time. The manifested world can be seen in the form of many stars and planets, such as the sun and moon. But beyond this is the unmanifested, which is imperceptible to those who are embodied. And beyond this unmanifested matter is the spiritual kingdom, which is described in Bhagavad Gita as supreme and eternal. Supreme and eternal. Does that make anybody else want to go? It sure does make me want to go. Like right now, where can I buy that ticket? What do I have to do? And so my offering for today is to wet your whistle, as they say, even more for that supreme eternal abode by reading you some descriptions that I have found that just beautifully say this beautiful abode of Krishna, which, here's the good news, guys, is our home. It is our home. And then I'd like to offer, if it is our home, a few words and thoughts on, then why the heck are we here? Why are we living in a shoebox when our true home is the agency of the divine? So I wanted to start by reading in full with the purport from the Brahma Samhita, the verse that is quoted there by Srila Prabhupada. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor who is tending the cows, yielding all desires in abodes built with, here we go, spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of purpose trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, by the word Chintamani is meant transcendental gems, just as Maya builds this mundane universe with the 5 material elements, so the spiritual chit potency was built, has built the spiritual world of transcendental gems. Then Chintamani, which serves as material in the building of the abode of Supreme Lord of Goloka, is far rarer and more agreeable entity than the philosopher's stone. The purpose trees yields only the fruits of piety, wealth, fulfillment of desire, and liberation. That's pretty good, but listen to this. But the purpose trees in the abode of Krishna bestow innumerable fruits in the shape of checkered divine love. Kamahendu cows, yielding the fulfillment of desire, give milk when they are milked. But the Kamahendu of Goloka pour forth oceans of milk in the shape of the fountain of love, showering transcendental bliss that does away with the hunger and thirst of all pure devotees. The words Laksha and Sahasra Shota signify endless numbers. The words Sambhara and Sadara indicates being saturated with love. Here, Lakshmi denotes Gopi, Adi Purusha, he who is the premier of the Lord. This is our home. From the Bhagavad Gita 15:6, that supreme abode of mine is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. This is our home. In the spiritual sky, the effluence, and this is from Bhagavatam 1:3:1. In the spiritual sky, the effluence of Brahma is spread all around, and the whole system is dazzling in bright light. This is our home. From the Krishna book, chapter 28, everywhere there are different grades of living entities, in aquatic animals, in the planets and trees, in the reptiles and insects, in birds and beasts, and in the civilized and uncivilized human forms of life. Above the human form of life, there are demigods, Karanas and Siddhas on up to Brahmaloka, where Lord Brahma lives. And among these demigods, there are always different grades of knowledge. But past this material world, in the spiritual sky, everyone in full knowledge, and therefore all the living entities, they're engaged in devotional service to the Lord, either in Vaikunta planets or in Krishna Loka. This is our home. And one more I'd like to share with you. It's from a lecture Srila Prabhupada said in Stockholm, September 9th, 1973. So, in the spiritual sky, the land is spiritual, the tree is spiritual, the fruit is spiritual, the flower is spiritual, the water is spiritual, the servant is spiritual, the friend is spiritual, the Lord is spiritual, and his associates are spiritual. Everything. Therefore, oneness, absolute truth, everything absolute. Although there are varieties, these varieties, the spiritual varieties, are simply reflections of the material world. Just like there's a tree on the bank of the river that's reflected in the water, but reflected how? The top has gone down. The topmost thing has gone down. I'm going to say that again because it's so cool. The topmost thing has gone down. So this material world is the reflection of the spiritual world, but perverted reflection. This is our home. That's our home, right? Viva says, you've made me very, very homesick. Exactly. We should be very, very, very homesick. We should be. But then here's the thing, everyone. If we're feeling so homesick, why are we not going? Why are we not home? Why are we not in this place? Again, it's like living in a shoebox when the mansion is ours. And so the analogy that I was thinking of is that it's like a little kid, and they're living in a house that is nice and warm, and they have their family that cares for them, and there's good, nutritious food on the table. And one day this little kid goes, you know what? I've had enough of your rules. I don't want to clean up my room. I don't want to go to school. I don't want to eat when you say. And they march into the backyard, and they don't even bring a tent. They don't even bring like a real tent. They take some blankets and they string it up, and they take what they think is nourishment, some Krispy Kreme donuts and a bag of rolled pretzels and a couple liters of really sugary soda. And they sit there inside this tent and it's cold and then it starts raining. And they can turn their head and they can see inside that house. And they can see that it's lit and it's warm and that the parents are making nice warm soup. But they're like, no, I'm going to stay out here. I'm going to stay out here because this is my house. Sounds ridiculous. But that's what we're doing. Because most of the time, like that kid, we are so illusioned. We're so illusioned into thinking that we're the controller. We're so illusioned to thinking, I don't need to play by anybody's rules. I know best. I'm the Ishvara. I'm in control. It makes me always think of something. I just was thinking about nice warm soup. I was thinking it's like a sign that I saw in an office once. And it was said, teenagers, go out and get a job while you still know everything. It's that mentality like, you don't tell me what to do. You're not the boss of me. I'm leaving. It sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? And it is ridiculous. We've left our home under the illusion that we're in control, that we're better off on our own. And Bihar, I saw your face. Did you want to say something?
Yeah. Just want to share quickly. When I was maybe 4 or 3, I wanted to leave my home, and I told my parents that I'm leaving. I'm done with you. Too much. I'm gonna go live in the gutter. We had a little gutter. It was dry, and when it was raining, it was full of water. So I wanted to live in that gutter, and I had blankets and everything. And then my mom told me, "Living in the gutter, okay." But all right, so you're gonna pick up some food, some blankets, but who's gonna wipe your butt? And I was like, yeah. And that stopped me. That question, who's gonna wipe your butt? And I was like, yes, yeah, really. I didn't think of that. So I ended up staying. So
you ended up
just wanted to share quickly.
That's a perfect example. I didn't know if anybody actually did that, left their home, but you really did it and wanted to live of all places. But what a great analogy. Yeah, we're living in the gutter. We are living in the gutter. And there is a nice mother just wait. And that's the thing. Just like it's a Motel 6. I don't know if you've ever seen it. And there's a guy that runs, it's a chain of motels. And the guy, this is Tom Bodett. We'll leave the light on for you. I don't know if anybody ever heard that commercial. We'll leave the light on for you. Krishna leaves the light on for us. Yeah. We'll leave the light on. It's just waiting. It's like, all right, you do you and go sleep in the gutter in the tent. But yeah, we're so illusioned with this, like it's so infantile. That's the word. It's infantile that what we do. So that's when I'm thinking, that's the perfect example. Yeah, I heard that for years. That's the person. The other example, the other thing I'm thinking of is like we don't hear enough about our home, right? We don't hear enough about it. For years, my husband and I would go to the New York Times travel show. It's at the Javits Center. And there are people that are most expert, and they have all these beautiful pictures they have all these beautiful pictures of countries and lands, and they're most expert at wanting you to look at the picture and then book a trip there, right? And so it's sort of like, or the way I know somebody who's a food stylist, they make the food look good for the pictures, so you want it. We read and see so many of these beautiful advertisements for things that are outside of us, but we don't hear enough things are inside of us. And so if we don't hear descriptions of the spiritual world, like these things that, as Bhima said, made him homesick, then it's easy for our senses to be drawn in the wrong direction, isn't it? It's easy to say, oh, well, I don't hear about this place. Oh, but here's a donut. Oh, here's a trip to exotic land. Oh, here's cashmere, right? Here's a fragrance. Here's a new car. I was reading an article, particularly if someone has sort of an impersonalist point of view. If what they're thinking is only that, the divine is just this white amorphous like blob, how could that seem more attractive than, a new car, a diamond ring. If all you're thinking is like, so we need to hear more about our home and the associates in our home to make us homesick, to make us want to turn away and forget our illusioned mind. And then the third thing I wanted to oh yeah, Adi.
Well, I love the way you say, this is our home. This is our home, with such conviction. And if that's where you are, I want to go there. I'm moving into your house today. Turn the light on. And the thing is, I used to remember being in first grade, and a nun was talking about the Garden of Eden. And I mean, you hear about the descriptions of the vacation place, and you hear about the description of spiritual world, Kamadhenu cows, Kalpavriksha, desire trees, the light there, the beauty there. But the main thing that just broke my heart, the way this girl was describing, that, when they were in the Garden of Eden, they were walking with the Lord in the evening. And then when they got out, then they were. So the main thing about the spiritual world is that Krishna is there. Because some people want the spiritual world without God. They want religion without God. They don't want religion without surrender. They want, spiritual life without the guru. And so, like, the most attractive thing is to be there with Krishna, and to be there with people like you.
No, to be there with people like you and everyone else.
I'm packing my bags. I'm coming.
Come on over. You have to live in New Jersey, though.
Let's go, everybody. We're going to Jamuna Jaya's house. We're moving in.
So sweet. I'll inform my husband immediately.
Good.
Thank you, Adi. It's true that the most attractive thing is Krishna, and that brings me to my my other point that I wanted to bring about why we aren't there, because maybe we know in a way that we wouldn't fit in, because in the spiritual world, vaikunta, when I remember when I first learned what the word vaikunta meant, without anxiety. How can there be a world? How could there not be anxiety when we are always striving to be the center of the circle? When we are striving to live a life that is selfish. The minute one tries to shove their way into the center, that means you're pushing somebody else out of the way. And so, of course, that leads to anxiety. What are they doing? What are they doing? Why is everyone not paying attention to me? In the spiritual world, it's that beautiful picture that everyone on this call surely has seen of Krishna being in the center of I love that word, the world, and all the cowherd boys sitting around. My Gurudev, Solange Swami, he often says that the difference between a community and a crowd, right? They both can be very, very big groups of people. But in a crowd, everyone is out for their own personal interests. In a community, everyone is serving the center. And in our home, that's the standard of behavior. To not be like, it's about me, serve me, let me be in the center of the circle. There's someone already there, the person that should be there, and that is Krishna. There's a folktale that I love, and I'm not sure what tradition it comes from. I think it might be Asian folktale originally, but it talks about a man who is given this amazing gift to being able to see both heaven and hell while on the planet. And so he's given this guide to take him there. And the man thinks about it, which do I want to see first? And he says, okay, and so to give me the bad news, let me see, take me to hell. And so his spiritual guide takes him to hell. And the man is amazed because hell doesn't look anything like he thinks it does. He was thinking it's like, burning fire and demons running around, but it looks beautiful. The trees are beautiful. The buildings are beautiful. People are outfitted in beautiful clothes. And he hears even beautiful music. And he goes into this banquet hall. And to his great surprise, there he sees food on the table, right? And it doesn't all look like, I always think of like hellish food, like the Indiana Jones second movie, when they put down a monkey head under his head and there's like brains and it's like, oh, it's disgusting. But the food looks amazing. But then he looks closer at the people. And though they are decked out in beautiful clothes, he sees that they're skinny and pale and look sickly. And then he sees why. It's their arms. Their arms are sort of locked in position so they cannot bend their elbows. So they cannot take the food and bend their elbows and feed themselves. And so they're almost tortured by this amazing food in front of them. And yet they can't eat it. Oh, says the man. Wow, I see why this is hell. I get it. Okay, well, take me to heaven. He's transported to heaven. And to his even greater surprise, heaven looks exactly like hell. Exactly. Same buildings, same trees, same beautiful music, people walking around in the same beautiful clothes. And he seems a replica of that same banquet hall. Yeah. And he walks in and there's that same beautiful food that smells so good. But then he looks at these people and he sees that these people are rosy cheeked and look healthy and shiny. And he sees too that they also have the same kind of weird arm. They cannot bend their elbows to get food into their mouth. But he's thinking, how do they look so well fed? How? And then he watches as one of them takes the food and feeds the person across the table from them. And that person turns and looks at the man, seeing his bewilderment, and says, because you see, in heaven, we feed each other. And of course, this is talking about the heavenly planets. We're talking about the spiritual world, but we can see the analogy, right? We can see, right? That's the entryway. That's the standard. That's the code of ethics, that we're not trying to selfishly feed ourselves. Everyone in the spiritual world is working together to serve Krishna. And I always see this. My favorite things about festivals at the Bhakti Center is the pre-show. is before the festival actually begins. Because there they are, people like Ananda Bihari's beautiful wife, like making the garland. The garland girls are in there doing the thing. The cooks in that tiny little kitchen are making food. I mean, how are they even doing that? Everyone's running around. I like to be the real Shudra, bringing up the garbage cans and like, where did we put the tables after the last festival? We can never remember, sweeping up the stuff. Everyone working together to serve Krishna, to glorify Krishna. The kirtaneers are rehearsing what they're going to sing for Krishna. That's the spiritual world. That's the price. And so I'll end now, and I'll leave time for questions just by saying we're illusioned. We've turned away like little Ananda Bihari. I'm going to live in the gutter. Right? We don't hear enough about the spiritual world. We don't hear enough about Krishna to understanding how he's right. That's the beauty of the place. It all comes from him, Krishna. And then are we ready? Are we ready to put our hands together and really live the Maha Mantra? Let me be a life that is of service, right? And in a way, I think of it, it will start, I think, when we, like that great yogi who had ponytails and a blue jumpsuit and shiny red shoes, really say to ourselves, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. So thank you all so much for your time and your tolerance. My Sanskrit is just horrible, I know, and I trip over words, especially when I'm nervous. So please forgive me. And let's see if there's comments, corrections. I love how Murli Gopal always says jokes. Let me see, there's a couple things in the chat. Oh yeah, Bima says, there is the sense of Baba. Oh, thank you for the wonderful tradition. Yeah, Kev said, this is my favorite part of the tradition, serving wonderful devotees. Yeah, oh, Bima says, now the Bhakti Center has become home. Yeah, Wills, I see your hand up. Oh, I think I'll see he's frozen. Yes, Shashaska, do you have something, or Adi, or there we go. Oh,
They have-
Shashaska, you're muted. There you go.
Haribo, I just was appreciating your enthusiasm. Your enthusiasm is infective. So, if you ever find your home, I want to go there if you get a ticket. Okay.
Okay.
That's, but I just really liked your point about, being selfish, like I remember when I first came to New Vrindavan in the late 70s, I was walking around the hills of West Virginia, and I came to an epiphany. I thought, wait a minute, what if this philosophy is true? Then actually, I'm not the center of the universe. Krishna is the center of the universe. And it blew my mind. Of course, throughout my devotee life, I was always forgetting that. But yeah, I'm still forgetting that. I was having a conversation on Facebook with my brother, and he doesn't really recognize my, devotional path or anything. He's a record store owner in Madison, Wisconsin, really cool guy and everything. But he's not really the devotee or anything, And so I said all these things about humility and stuff like that. I was trying to present a little bit, but he didn't respond. And I thought, I didn't really expect a response. But then I'm thinking that maybe I'm thinking it's about me. It's all about Krishna. It's Krishna's message. Why am I like miffed that he didn't respond to me? So it's really an important point to actually understand that, it's not about us. Like you said at the beginning of the class, we don't have anything to say. All our good qualities, so-called good qualities, are like filthy rags. If you're connected to Krishna, though, you have everything. And you made a very good point about, and a wonderful, beautiful description of the spiritual world. And I hope everybody wants to go there because it's a nice crib. It's better than the gutter. Ananda Bihari's analogy, that was so funny.
It is a nice crib. I love that. Thank you, Shashaska. Yeah, the selfish thing. It's something that we conditioned souls we struggle with, isn't it? It's I always love the joke, and maybe some of you heard me say it, because that what's the difference between God and you? God don't think he's you. We have this illusion that like, I'm God and let me do for me. And it's, there's been a lot of talk about, the big lie this week about the political arena, but we've sort of bought the big lie that we're large and in charge, and that we would be happier if it was all about us. But then I always think it's like when somebody that has that worldview, if it's all about me, is entitled. And a person who is entitled is never happy, could never be in vaikunta, if vaikunta means the place within anxiety, because someone that's entitled is always in a state of anxiety because it's never enough. And they're always, it's that thing of Rajas and Dvesha, like with the Yoga Sutras, of like wanting to grasp or keep away, to keep oneself on top. Yeah, it's never going to be enough, and they're never going to be happy. And so when we think about it, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense that to serve with others, to serve the center, to serve Krishna, to serve the divine, is who we are, and would be the perfection of our happiness.
Selfish life, there's no love.
Yeah. There's no love. Is it? Yeah, go ahead, Ani.
That if we awaken our love for Krishna, then our genuine affection for everyone else is also awakened.
Yeah. Is it Bhaktivinoda Thakur that says, life without love is poor and useless, they say. Anoint me in your service, O Lord, with love as thy pay. Yeah. Like what is life without love? And Krishna is we all know well the analogy of watering the roots of the tree. I always think of it as like, if we have a bowl and we offer up that bowl to Krishna, and Krishna will pour love into that bowl, and then the love overflows. And it naturally then it overflows into the people in our life. And so, like Adi said, it naturally makes us more loving to the people in our life because we've got the excess. And where does it go? And as Radha Swami always says, if you love the parent, you got to love the child.
Wow.
If I love, who's a parent on here? I know Gail is a parent. If I love Gail, and I do, when I see her beautiful children, I wouldn't come and kick them in the gut because that would not be showing love for Gail. So if we love the parent, how being loving to other people is such a natural, beautiful expression of our love for Krishna. And it's beautiful to look at our relationships and the people in our lives as our little examples or our little, what's the way I want to put it, our little ways of showing our love to Krishna, that we have these people. So let me use them as a way for me to show that this is Krishna's child. Let me love them. Anybody? Oh, we better. Yeah. Bhima quotes a song. You better find somebody to love. Yeah. Isn't it funny when you put on your yoga philosophy classes, there's so many songs that they're talking about other things, but really do apply to Krishna, so many other things. Anybody else have anything? Ananda Bihari, anything?
Morning, Hare Krishna.
Hey, well, I saw you walking along as you were listening. Good morning.
Yeah, I was letting everyone hear the beautiful words and also trying to sink it into my heart as well, because it's so easy to be distracted in this life. So easy. I find myself distracted every single day.
Yep.
And I was just a couple of days. This is just a comment. I'm just gonna comment. You made me think about. I wanted to go to the Brooklyn Temple one evening because I was having a really rough day, and I just said I want to be surrounded by devotees. I just want to be surrounded by devotees. Having such a difficult day, and just being surrounded by devotees would make me feel better. And I was praying to Krishna, just give me a sign, And so I was calling everybody I could think of, everyone, and nobody was able to go. Nobody that I called was able to go. So finally, I called Adi, and I was like, Adi, what are you doing tonight? We're cooking. We prasadam for food distribution for tomorrow. I said, can I join you? He said, come on over. So there it was. Krishna answered my prayer. Service.
Yeah, so beautiful. Yeah, that's the prayer. You have that mood, and everybody there with Adi has that mood, like listening and serving. So beautiful. And may I say, you did a really good imitation of Adi there when you spoke with his voice.
Really?
Come on over. Yeah, you sounded like him. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Will. Anybody else have anything they want to share, add, correct, say? Okay. Well,
Munajai, I just wanted to thank you for the wonderful class. You literally came, picked up my shoebox, turned it upside down, and started going like that, shaking it. And very hope-giving class. Devotional service is available. We're in the shoebox. The top is on, and we're in the shoebox, no light, and then devotional service start. No more shoebox, no more gutter. Spiritual world starts right then. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And that's the thing. It's like there's always hope, because we can go at any moment. At any moment. Like the thing of like a room can be dark for 1,000 years, but we just light the light and it instantly becomes light. And Krishna is always there. I love the story of Sudama. Sudama, he takes one, you take one step towards Krishna, and Krishna gets off of the throne and runs towards him. Sudama, where have you been? We, just like the parent, like, will wait. And I always say, I am so thankful for my mother for living so long that I was a grown-up and could see past the foolish ways I acted as a teenager. She had a rather big birthday a few years ago, and I stood up, I said, thank you, Mom, for staying alive long enough for me to grow up and appreciate you, right? And I was able to do the same with my father before he passed. But just like parents, because they waited for the foolishness to stop. They waited. Krishna will wait, and in an instant, we can turn on the light. And because Krishna is waiting. And like Jai Jagannath says, when you take that step toward Krishna, it puts you on Krishna's radar. I love the way he said that. It puts you on Krishna's radar. And he'll preserve what we have, he'll preserve what we have and carry what we lack and bring, he wants us to come home. I imagine he's got the balloons and the and all this stuff ready and the meal ready and say, come on, bed's all
Come
ready.
on over.
Come on over. I'm ready for you.
Wonderful is Krishna.
How wonderful is Krishna that he'll wait for us. He'll wait for us lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. So, but
Jamuna, I do have a question.
yes, ma'am.
You seem to have actually found what we're all looking for. The trick to being happy in this world without having gone to the spiritual world. Would you please share?
I can share what I know, and that it's Rukmini Walker, when she gave a class, I don't know if you were on that one, Gil, but she was talking about happiness, and I've thought about it because I initially thought my happiness was a problem to my spiritual life. I think I maybe told you this, but I remember early on, I went to Kastuba and I said, Kastuba, I'm reading things in the Bhagavad Gita that say about, the misery and I said, I'm happy a lot. Is that going to be a problem? And I remember he looked at me and he said, Krishna's given you a gift. And that's all I can say that it is. It's Krishna's gift. And there's a song we used to sing in church when I was little. This joy that I had, the world don't give it to me. This joy that I have, the world don't give it to me. This joy that I have, the world don't give it to me. The world don't give it, the world can't take it away. And that is that's all I can think is that like Krishna, it's Krishna's joy. And even Maharaj, Ganyadhar Maharaj, once he was at the Bhakti Center, he was walking down the steps and I was, oh, hi Maharaj, and I did that thing up the bad obeisance thing. He was going, he said, where are you going? And I said, I'm going somewhere. And he said, Jamuna Jaya, is there nowhere you won't share Krishna's joy? And he didn't say my joy. He said Krishna's joy. So all I can think is that, I don't know, Gil, it's Krishna's joy. And it's his gift to me that I somehow people can feel it because it's not me. It's, and I was just reading the Sri Upanishad.
Thanks a lot, Jamuna.
Sorry, Gail. I wish that I could, like, if you go here and get this verse, I don't know, but Gail, I'm so
you were about to say something when
Oh, I was just, in the Sri Upanishads, I was just reading yesterday, that like this physical form, like the body is what's formless. And then it's the soul that gives it its form. And so all I can think of is that, it's Krishna's joy or whatever. And then my body is just like the coat over it. But I think it's the practices, it's the reading, it's the hearing, but ultimately it's Krishna's mercy, as it all is. And thank you for reminding me to be thankful for it and grateful for it.
Well, I'm thankful for your joy also. for being a traveling light in this world.
Thank you, Gail. Thank you for being you. I always say Gail thinks of things that I don't even, my intelligence is not smart enough to even begin to think about. I can't even think to ask the questions you do. And I'm always glad you do, because it makes me go, oh yeah. Like, I'm so grateful for you and also for Athena and anybody that asks intelligent questions, because I'm rather dull-minded and I can't even think about, I don't even like, oh, right, I should wonder about that.
Well, the unanimous consensus is that there's absolutely nothing dull about you.
Gail. Or Garungi. Gail Garungi. So she's laughing. She gets it. Anybody else have anything? This has been lots of fun and joyous. I'm always so nervous. Like my stomach is, I'm sipping my ginger tea because my stomach's always like in such a knot before these. And thank you all so much for making me feel so welcome and so loved. And thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jamuna Jai. I was secretly hoping that you would be given this class wearing Bima's hat, but you aren't.
I know. I almost did. It's actually on the couch. It's on the side of this.
Yeah,
I did wear it.
Put
when
this
it's-
on next time in your class.
I will.
But you did great, even without Bima's hat. It's great. Thank you very much, Jamuna Jai. You're a traveling light. You're a beacon of joy and happiness. Thank you so much for sharing this, for infecting us all with this. Thank you. Yeah, have a wonderful day, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, for participating in this class. And yeah, we love you. Get out of your shoebox, turn on the light, get out of the gutter, get back, and share it with others. Bring others along with you. Okay? Hare Krishna.
Bye, everybody. Bye, Kiko.